Hello, thank you for joining me. We're going to have a standing practice that will really help to open up through our shoulders, open up through the chest, get some energy flowing through the body, and also bring us away from a busy mind and into a place of calm. So I invite you to kick off your shoes, just take a moment to get comfortable in standing and have props handy of a yoga strap, a chair, and also wall space. I hope that you enjoy it. Thanks for joining me. So we will get started. I invite you to come to standing. Just bring your feet so that you feel really grounded with them, so that maybe they're a little wider than hip distance apart. You can lift up through the toes, spread the toes back down to the ground. Just take a moment to feel like you're really anchoring to the ground. The palms can turn forward and lift up through the crown of the head, and just give yourself a moment to scan through your body here. Check in with how you're feeling. How's the body naturally standing? Do you tend to drop forward a little at the hips, or just do your shoulders roll forward a little? Roll the shoulders back, draw the tailbone and the rib cage in, and give yourself a sense of connection downwards by lifting up through the inner arches of your feet and letting yourself lift all the way up through the midline of the body, palms turning forward. I just invite you to let the eyes close down and take a moment to become aware of the body, how it's feeling. If you're finding it easeful to stand today, or if you find it a little awkward, where's the weight positioned on your feet? Maybe rocking forward onto the toes and drawing backwards onto the heels a little. Just a very gentle forwards and backwards, just to start to align yourself with the midline point through the body. And noticing the breath, just starting to let the breath deepen. It can be hard sometimes to breathe as you're moving. You sometimes forget. So just see if you can connect the breath. Inhaling, exhaling. And then coming to stillness, just finding that midpoint, letting the weight transfer a little onto the heels, spreading out through all four corners of the feet. Just bringing one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And as you do that, just starting to connect in with the sensation of the breath, the expansion of the chest and maybe the belly as you deepen the breath. And then feeling them move back as you exhale. So the hands draw apart on the inhalation. And the hands draw closer on the exhalation. Just a couple more rounds like that, inhaling. And just take a moment to deepen your breath out, long and slow and steady out. Inhaling. Slightly longer and slower out through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And the hand that's on the heart, just place it down on top of the hand that's on the belly. So both hands are at the belly. And just bring your full attention here. And feel the place that is said to be our area of strength in a number of cultures. A place that keeps us grounded. I just invite you to bring your attention there, breathing into the belly. And then let the knees soften slightly. Just allow yourself to become a little more gentle through the knees, almost like, I imagine it almost like when you're on snowboard. If you've ever snowboarded, you just get that lightness, and you could just get a little bounce. And then just starting to bring your fingertips just a touch together, palms turning up, and breathing in consciously. And imagine you could breathe up from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, letting the breath travel all the way down through the body as if it could travel down through the feet. And again, inhaling. Exhaling. Just using this to feel like you're grounding yourself. So you're breathing up as if you could draw the breath up through the feet, through the body. This upward rising of breath. And as you exhale, that downward flow of breath, getting you a little more anchored to the ground underneath you. One more time like that. Inhaling. And exhaling. And the next time you inhale, start to lift your fingers up with you. So the palms come up as high as feels good for you. And then when you're ready to breathe out, turning the palms down as if you could push the breath out and traveling down just at the speed of the breath. So again, inhaling. There's a pause at the end of that inhale, and as you exhale, like you're pushing the breath down. We'll do that again, inhaling. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Pausing at the top. Palms turn down, exhaling. So it's a very good set of movements to do if you're needing just to ground, just to bring you back into the present moment. If you're in the middle of a stressful time, just letting the palms turn out. Check there's nothing around you that you're going to hit, and just starting to find a little bounce again through the legs. You can let the arms start to bounce. So we're just going to take a bit of shaking. Shaking through the wrists, shaking through the arms, bounce through the knees, just checking that you feel really comfortable in the joints. If you need to bounce less, please do, but otherwise just starting to shake a little more, shaking through the arms, letting the whole body shake. Let the heels lift off the floor if you like, and just get a little more vibrant with it as you shake thoroughly. This is really good just for shaking energy up. If you're feeling tired, it's great. If you're feeling that you've just got a little stagnant or you've been sitting for a long time. You see animals do this in the wild after they've been chased and they need to release cortisol. So it's a really good thing to do if you're feeling a little anxious and you just need to calm down. You can even start to bounce if you're feeling energetic today. Just for another 10 seconds, wherever you are. When you're ready, slowing that down, turn your palms forward. Notice how you feel now. Can you feel that sensation of energy or tingling through the body? And then just bringing your feet a little closer together, just so that they're underneath the hips. So you feel really grounded with the feet. Lifting up through the crown again. If you need something to lean on, you can use your chair or whatever's available, your wall. Just going to start to lift the right foot up. If you're feeling balanced, you can have your hands maybe palm to palm, so you've got its perfect equanimity through the body. If you're feeling very balanced, close the eyes. There's been some incredible research about the power of balancing and longevity. It's also excellent if you're in the middle of a stressful situation and you just want to come back to focus. Just another couple of breaths here. You might feel that lower ankle starting to wobble a little, and then releasing the foot down. And you can just lift the left leg up and give the ankle a bit of a circle there. You can have the leg long if you prefer. And then when you're ready, just placing the foot down. It's finding the stability through both the feet, checking you're standing pretty evenly here. And then we'll start to transfer the weight onto the other foot, and as you do, lifting up. You can just have the toe tips on the floor if that feels better for you, as you start to find your balance. Lifting through the crown, and take a few steady breaths here. Just letting the eyes soften, holding on to something if you like. Closing the eyes if you dare, or just changing your focus. So you're looking up rather than at the particular spot, just to challenge you. Just another couple of breaths. And as you lower the foot down, just notice how you feel here. You might like to pick that right ankle up and give it a bit of a circle, one direction and the other. And then bring your hands onto your hips, feet just nice and wide again. We'll start to circle the hips. So if you sit a lot, this is so good. If you're driving for long times or on any long flights, or if you're just sitting during your day, we tend to get very congested in the hips and the glutes, in the front of the hips, the hip flexors, the piriformis muscle. We're just starting to explore big circles, almost like you're hula hooping in one direction. And then we'll take that in the other way, a big hula hoop in the opposite direction, and just feel that circling How's that feel on your hips? Are they tight? Are they clicky at all? That's quite normal. And then we'll come back to the center. And start to take the right hip to the right corner, bring it back. Left hip, left corner, bring it back. And it's like you're drawing this figure 8 with the hips. Circling around, big circle in one direction, just feeling that movement. It's really good to give you this sense of space in the hips. We get very locked out in the hips and tend not to move them too often in general everyday living. We'll change direction, so right hip comes back, right hip forward, left hip back, left hip forward, and just exploring that. Any variety that you like. If you find that you've gone off on a bit of an angle, that's totally fine. And when you're ready, we'll come all the way back to center and taking a moment to pause. Notice how your lower limbs are feeling now. And then bringing your hands onto your shoulders. Elbows can draw in towards each other, and then like you're drawing just big circles, bringing them around and in, and just explore that. Now notice how your shoulders, you might feel a little clicky or crunchy under the shoulders for some people, and that's fine. Very good for warming them up. And we'll take them the opposite direction as you're ready. Big circles all the way around and the other way. And you can feel the breath here. Inhaling, the arms go wide. Exhaling, the elbows naturally come back together. Inhaling, the lungs open. Exhale, the lungs draw and get smaller. And then when you're ready, releasing. And I'll get you to take your belt or whatever you're using, any kind of strap. Just take that between your hands. Now the wider the hands go, the easier it is. And you might find you start narrow and want to take it wider. But just getting a good standing, sturdy base. Draw the tailbone in. Starting to lift your arms up. Now any shoulder injuries, you might find you can't go all the way back. But otherwise just continue the journey all the way back. Now for most of us there's a sticking point just about here. You'll probably feel that quite intensely. You might need to widen your hands. See how you go. You can continue the journey if the shoulders will allow it. And then we'll come up through the center, all the way up. Find that sticky point up to the top. And as you draw into the center, kind of like a strong man or strong woman, of course, chin to chest, draw the elbows in and just let the belt go slack and feel like you're just rounding the back to create space around the upper back. And then once again, we'll tear the belt apart, creating some tautness in it, lifting up tall. Take a moment to breathe here. Really feel like you're trying to stretch the belt, whatever you're using, and then take the arms back. And you might find a spot about here that you want to stop at. You might be able to go a little deeper. Breathing into it. You can feel intense. Notice, is your face screwed up? Are you still able to smile here? It does help, honestly. And then bringing the arm all the way down. We'll travel up again until you get to that point. If you're able to keep the arms long and straight, excellent. And then come all the way through the center. And when you're ready to, we'll bend the elbows, draw the chin to the chest, draw the tailbone forward, round the back body, and then opening up. Excellent. Now lifting the arms up again and taking your arms over to the right. So you're in this sensation. That right arm can move into the midline, the left arm can lift up, like you're trying to tear the belt between your palms. And just feel how that lift up of the top arm gives you more length through the left side of the body. You can breathe deeply into that. Now as we come up, we'll release the arms all the way up again and then lower the left hand down so the right arm lifts up. And there's a good bit of space here, and you can then explore drawing that hand back in space, lifting through the right arm and finding some space, lifting up. Excellent. And then coming all the way back to the center and taking your just belt over to the right. Feel how that opens through the left side, and you can really pull the belt apart. And it's actually really good to have a strap. You can just use a strap that you might get from the gym or whatever next to your working space, and just take these stretches. It's a really powerful way of opening up through the shoulders that tend to get very congested, opening up through the lungs to help us breathe better, through the side body that we tend to collapse in, and then coming all the way back. And just bring your belt around the neck. You may or may not need it for where we're going next. We'll lift up with the right arm, bend the right hand to the middle of the shoulder blades, like you're trying to scratch your own back. You'll look like this. Left hand can just push onto the left elbow. You can just feel yourself creating some space around that right tricep. Lift up a little, create some space here. Now this may be exactly where you like to stay. Otherwise, taking your left arm out to the side, draw the left arm in and bend your left elbow. Now option one, you might find that your hands touch. If they don't touch, that's where your belt can come in handy. You can use your t-shirt or shirt, or you can take hold of your belt like this. We'll just take a couple of breaths here. This right elbow lifts up, the left elbow draws in. A couple of breaths. Of course, you might have chosen to stay in option one, and that's great. One more breath. Now, this hand that's behind you or up here, starting to release it and take it back. And swim it like you're doing backstroke and bring it all the way forward onto the opposite hip. Now this right arm lifted up, and once again we'll take it back, and you can follow it. You can follow with the gaze, with your eyes, watching the thumb until both of the hands are crossed, or the wrists are crossed. Then we'll take hold of the hands and then turn the hands up. And I'll give you a moment, close the eyes and just work out which is your right hand, which is your left hand. It's very good for left brain connection. Just breathing into it. And when you're ready, we'll release the arms and just take one big sweep up with the arms and bring the hands back to your heart center. Excellent. We'll take that the other side. So we might like to come up, flying the arms up like this time. Bring your left hand down between the shoulder blades. Take the right hand to your left elbow. Now just draw that hand a little further down the back by using your right hand to push it down. Imagine you're trying to scratch a little lower, just in between the shoulder blades. Excellent. And you can choose to stay, or that right arm can go wide. You might like to turn your thumb down as you bring the arm in. Bend your elbow and either hold hands with yourself or hold your belt, or you might like to hold your shirt or your t-shirt, whatever you have available to you. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here, like this, or of course like this. Drawing the tailbone down, rib cage in, lifting up through that top elbow, and feel like you're trying to lift the elbow up to the sky. Now we're going to release the right arm first, so wherever it is, starting to release it, and then we'll take it back behind us, all the way around until the hand crosses to the opposite hip. Lifting up with the left arm, and once again, like your backstroke, all the way around until eventually you're crossing your hands. Take the hands to interlace and then turning the palms up. And I invite you here once again to notice which is your right hand, which is your left hand. Softening through the gaze. And when you're ready, releasing and reaching all the way up, bringing your hands to your heart. Going to continue with a similar action on the shoulders. This by starting to take your left hand up the wall. So your right hip will be turning to the center of the room. Now if that's a challenge already, step a little further away from the wall, and you can do that at any time. Start to draw the right hip into the center of the room. So that will give you a little more opening through the pecs, through the shoulder. Now with that left hand, starting to take it back a little. Now this is where you might start feeling you need to step out a little if it feels intense, but we'll take a breath. It's like you're just a clock hand, just going anti-clockwise around a clock. Couple of breaths here, and then taking your hand to 10 o'clock and just see if you can draw the chest around to the right, so you're just creating more space around the arm. Stepping in if you want more, stepping out if you want less. And then we'll take the hand a little further, and once again, just feel that rotation. Couple of breaths. As you come back to the center, feel like you're taking it to 9 o'clock on your clock face. And I find that you can walk in a little more and feel that pressure. Draw the hip in. Couple of breaths. you're ready, coming all the way back to center. So just notice how that arm feels now. Tends to feel quite hot and a little more warmed up quite quickly. We'll take that on the other side. So right arm lifts up to kind of 12 o'clock on the clock face. You can stand with your feet just grounded, stepping your feet wherever you need, of course. Couple of breaths here, maybe drawing the left hip into the center of the room a little. Then just take the arm back and feel that at 11 o'clock on your clock face, or actually 1 o'clock. And then we'll take it to 2 o'clock. This is where you might find it gets a little more intense. I know I certainly do. And then we'll travel around a little more and feel that sensation of opening. And then a little further. Notice how that is on your shoulder. And then one more time, bringing the hand down, maybe stepping a little closer to the wall. And when you're ready, bringing the hand all the way back. It's taking a bit of softness and a bit of a shake through the arms. This is where we'll use either the back of the chair or your desk, whatever you have available to you. So just bringing the hands onto the back of the chair. You can have your hands almost at shoulder distance or as wide as the back of the chair, starting to walk away from the chair. Now, see how my back is almost tabletop. It's almost as long as I can make it. If you find your spine's rounding, bend your knees as much as you need to. Now try to have the heels of your feet underneath the sit bones and create some length through the spine, like you're trying to pull the sit bones away from the chair, creating a bit of space here, breathing deeply into the chest, drawing up through the navel, letting the heart then start to soften through the arms a little more. So if you're familiar with yoga, this is kind of a chair-assisted downward facing dog. It's really accessible. It stretches the back of the legs through the arms. It's really great for getting some energy moving through the body as well. Deep breath here. Sigh it out, soften a little more. And then when you're ready, we'll come all the way back. We'll take one more standing pose today. So just standing with a bit of space behind you, bringing your hands to your hips. Step your right foot back. Now you can be heel to heel here, or you can go a little wider, like train track wider, so that you can imagine if there were headlights on your hips, they'd be turned to the front of the room. Then start to bend into that front leg. Now if that front knee overshoots your ankle, take your stance a little wider. Use your hands to guide the hips forward, and then take your hands behind you if that's okay for you. Draw the knuckles down. Push firmly down through the feet. Inhale, open up through the heart. Create some space in the front of your throat as well, if that's okay for your neck, of course. And then bring your chin to your chest and open through the back body a little more. We'll do that again. Inhale, opening up, opening the heart. You can feel the palms drawing close. And then when you're ready, chin to your chest. And releasing, hands to your heart. Now you can just step forward, or you can challenge yourself and come into a standing balance, lifting up with that right leg. Very nice. And then bringing the foot down. Excellent. We'll take that on the other side. So stepping back with your left leg, or whichever leg you didn't use last time, bring your hands to your hips. Now really draw the hips forward. Go as wide as you like with the feet. Start to bend generously into the front leg. Now if you felt uncomfortable interlacing your hands, squeeze your elbows close so you get opening through the chest that way. Otherwise, take your opposite hand to interlace. Draw the knuckles down. You can bend as generously as you like into that front leg. Left hip draws forward, heart opens, throat opens. Breathing in here. And then chin towards your chest. And again, inhaling, opening up. And as you exhale, chin to your chest. Hands to the heart. You can just step forward or challenge your balance and lift up. Standing on that right leg for a moment and lowering the foot down. Just invite you here, let the palms turn forward. Take a moment to let the eyes close. scan through the body. Check in with how you're feeling now. Letting the breath deepen. Thank you very much for joining me today.